Okay, so this video is just some review stuff for derivative rules. Um, the first half, or the first video that I'm going to do, I'm going to make two of them, is going to be a review of derivative rules and the product rule. And then the second video I'll do will be for the quotient rule and for the chain rule. So on this video, you should just be seeing like the basics of derivative rules and the basic product rule. So just to run through the basics of derivative rules, we're going to start with the most important ones. So if you see there's 5 above this line right here, and those are the most important ones. And then the next set I'm going to go through will be the less important ones, but if you have, your abilities to memorize them, you might also want to do them. Okay, so the derivative of u to the n, so this would be any function to a power, would be n times u to the n minus 1 times u prime. So I'm building in the chain rule for all of these. The u prime at the end will be the chain rule. The derivative of e to the u is e to the u times u prime. I apologize for my bad handwriting there. E to the u times u prime. The derivative of cosine, or sine u, is going to be cosine u times u prime. The derivative of the natural log of u will be 1 over u times u prime, or u prime over u. And then the derivative of cosine u will be negative sine u times u prime. So for these five are going to come up a lot, and you should definitely know them for the exam and for our class exam. These next 4 are important to know, but maybe not as important as the ones above it. So the derivative of tangent of u is secant squared u times u prime. The derivative of cotangent u is negative cosecant squared u times u prime. And if you notice, like cosine and cotangent have negative derivatives, any of the cofunctions will have negative derivatives. The derivative of secant u will be secant u tan u times u prime. And the derivative of cosecant u will be negative cosecant u cotangent u times u prime. And then the next couple are even less important than the ones that I just did. But if you are, working on memorizing these, the derivative of arcsine will be 1 over the square root of 1 minus u squared times u prime. And the derivative of arctan will be 1 over 1 plus u squared times u prime. So these are the basic derivative rules. Again, you really should have the first 5 up here for sure memorized. Oops, sorry. The first 5. These ones are like a must memorize. The next set would be the next group you should memorize. I keep moving that. These are a should memorize. And then the last ones are, the least important. They might come up. So using the product rule. So to use the product rule is the derivative of f times g would be f times g prime plus g times f prime. So you are going to be taking the derivative of one function at a time. You can only take one derivative at a time. So when we do the derivative of this function, I'm going to call this f prime of x. I'm going to leave the first function alone. So this guy is function number 1, and this will be function number 2. So I'm going to start out, leave function number 1 alone, times the derivative of sine of x, which is cosine of x. Plus, now I'm going to leave the second function alone and take the derivative of the first. So now I'm taking the derivative of x cubed, which is 3x squared, times, and now I'm leaving sine of x alone. And they might write the answer just like that. They might also factor out the x squared. So it's possible that the answer choice, if it were multiple choice, would say x squared times x cosine x plus 3 sine x. Okay, on this second problem, again, I would like to label this as function 1, and that's function 2. So g prime of x is going to be, leave the first function alone, so I'll have x squared minus 4 times the derivative of e to the x, which is e to the x, plus, now I'm going to take the derivative of the first function and leave the second function alone. So it's going to be plus 2x, and leaving the second function alone will be times e to the x. So if I simplify this a little bit, excuse my writing, I would have g prime of x equals e to the x times x squared plus 2x minus 4. I rearranged all of these pieces to be in descending order. And that's it for the product rule.